there's quite a lot happening, and I'm afraid things are likely to get quite a bit worse before they get better. But I believe they can, and I'm working towards that, as are many others that I know. And so, on this gloriously sunny Saturday, it's also a bit blowy, I wanted to take a breath and reflect for a few moments. What's going on often feels like chaos, but it isn't really. What's happening is change, a global shift. We can all feel it in our lives, sometimes in small ways, sometimes in ways so big it's a bit overwhelming. People who want power are tapping into strong feelings and making up stories, versions of which we've heard many times before. Those who already have power are struggling to hold on to it, desperately trying to adapt to a world where everyone can see that the stories that they tell simply aren't true or aren't working. Let's take just one of those. Work hard at school, pass your exams, go to university, get a good job. It may still work for some, but increasingly it only works for the lucky few. In the real world, many face widening moats, unpaid internships, their LLM-polished CVs being ingested and rejected by more LLMs. 2 years of experience required, even just to get a foot on the ladder. Government systems, the computer says no, controlling your right to work or even to run a business. People with master's degrees working as baristas, and even some entry-level positions like basic coding in tech or customer service roles or lead generation in marketing being replaced by AI with no real prospect of the training or opportunities that young people need. That same generation of young people were effectively put under house arrest for a couple of their most formative years. Locked down, many without any real support, then or now, they reached out and connected with each other online. In games, on Discord and in Reddit, not Facebook, that's for the oldies now, via social media, private one-to-one messaging, in texts and video chats. Yes, there is bullying. Devices brought the school playground into children's bedrooms, and even us oldies will remember how brutal that could be. So they learned to be careful. Some got help from their parents, some learned from each other. Some searched for guidance, possibly using problematic search terms, and were able to find helpful advice written by human beings with real lived experience, with understanding and with compassion. Many of them learned new skills. They created, they shared their experiences, they played and laughed and cried together. And the vast majority stayed perfectly safe. What we're fighting here is not an onslaught of predators, though those clearly exist and must be dealt with wherever they show up. Because, like we've seen in Nottingham and Southport, creeps and ghouls use their access even to NHS systems to peer and pry into the confidential records of victims of terrorist violence. The narrative may be online safety, but driving a lot of it is ignorance and fear. Fear of something that many parents struggle to understand, to which many people find themselves addicted. Doom scrolling, algorithmic feeds, and a media that amplifies accounts of horrific abuse. Fear that is used as an excuse to impose control. Fear and outrage is also a well-understood business model. Indeed, it has made some platform owners into billionaires, and it provides others with excuses to wield and extend their power, to do things to people, not for them, and all too often, not with them. This is completely the wrong approach. We're seeing a string of announcements right now from government and big tech. Just last week, it was about monitoring the messages and images on people's phones, on device, across the network, using digital IDs. And next week, it'll be about banning kids from the very places that they're growing up in, as if prohibition ever worked. History tells us that decisions based in paternalistic moral outrage often create more problems rather than less, drive people into dark spaces and even into the hands of organised crime. America and alcohol being the prime example, but Australia and its online ban that's now starting to play out is happening exactly as many who work to defend children had predicted. And the irony? The people who end up being forced to provide ID are the adults. The people whose phones, which they bought, which they own and pay for, now won't let them do things without ID. Yeah. It's affecting the over 18s, the over 16s, grown adults being made to comply for fear of being flagged or reported or treated as suspect, submitting to lifelong tracking because think of the kids. How about instead we let parents be parents? We empower and equip families to decide without government tracking of everyone. Without this biometric panopticon of government or government mandated code and IDs monitoring our every action, our transactions, our interactions. How about rather than applying for a digital ID for your child at birth, we involve the kids. We help them grow up. We educate them. We talk with them, not at them. We listen. We learn from what the digital native generations are already doing, rather than closing everything down, shutting them out, imposing restrictions and more controls. We live in a free society, a free and open society, or at least I believe we still do. But freedom has to be defended, to be fought for in each generation, facing each generation's new challenges. I've campaigned for over 20 years now against the database state and the imposition of ID cards, against an official number being assigned to everyone. And I've tried with MedConfidential to ensure that every use of our medical records is consensual, safe and transparent. Many have campaigned and fought with me along the way. Millions have opted out to protect their and their families' GP records from various data grabs. We defeated the Blair government's ID scheme in the 2000s and got the law repealed. In the end, the actual hard drives of the Home Office's National Identity Register were shredded. We were non-violent, we were non-partisan, and no one got sent to prison. Over 1 million people made the NO2ID pledge last time. That's a personal and public declaration made with a friend that they would refuse to comply. We launched it again, updated for this digital ID scheme just a few weeks ago, and it's spreading. But you don't have to be an activist. Campaigning isn't for everyone. What's more important is that you look after yourself and your loved ones, that you practice some information hygiene. Simple things like maybe making sure you sleep more hours than you spend on your phone, that you're mindful about what you read and watch, that you check your sources of information rather than being driven by others' opinions, that you model safe and healthy behaviour with your devices, that you talk with and listen to your kids. We'll get more online safety that way than anything big tech or the government will do. And after looking after yourself and your loved ones, look out for your neighbours. Everyone's feeling the pressure, and if you find something that helps you, maybe share it. Also, just be civil with each other. Ignore those rude people who thrive on argument and conflict. And if everyone did that, things would just be a lot more civilized. I know these things sound simple, although you might find some of them are quite tricky to do or to do consistently. But if you make the effort, you're making a contribution. If you want to do more, do it together. There are groups and organisations you can join, actions and things you can contribute to. It's not just about donating money, although that's great. Your time and attention is valuable too. Inform yourself and inform others. Spread the word. Don't be fooled. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate your time. And if you think what I've said is helpful, if it resonates with you in any way, then please share it with others. It might seem like a small thing, but I promise you it isn't. Because nothing good ever happened except when people like you decided to take action.